Podcast, podcast,
We
podcasting
already have
is
an
for
intro
fun
song,
for
Brian.
things. We like podcasting. I don't know.
Proximity alert. Vessel approaching. The vessel is hailing.
Space.
Warning. Warp
So,
core collapse in 10 seconds.
starting out on today's episode, we have some important corrections from the last episode. This is to keep the Trekkies off my ass. I said that the Ferengi clip that Bad Bunny mentioned was Season 3, Episode 1 and 2. It was the end of Season 2. It was not the beginning of Season 3. Can you fucking believe this shit? This is an
I'm
amateur
fucking
hour.
disgusted.
I'm sorry. I want to apologize to everyone out there. I want to apologize to myself.
Fake fans.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And also the M thing classification, I didn't write it down. I didn't know what it was. Someone in the comments, it's a Messier object, and they didn't know they were galaxies at first. They just described them as objects. Wow. Welcome to Left Trek, the Star Trek podcast that takes 2 hours to record, 2 weeks for me to do what is generously maybe 2 days worth of editing. Joining us today, we have the usual suspects. Me, hi, I'm Eric from Left Trek. Brian.
Hi, Trashcan 1312 Brian here. Yeah, I'm disgusting. What's up?
Thank you, Brian. And coming back is Zots. Welcome back, Zots.
Hi everyone, I am Zots, only Zots on twitch.tv. Come check me out. And I'm listen, I didn't understand the assignment, but we soldier on nonetheless.
Yeah.
We cannot have the appearance of incompetency on Left Trek. It's unacceptable. I will be editing out any mention to that Zots didn't watch the episode until we started getting into the Discord call.
Yeah. We're here to tell everybody that we're incredibly competent and know everything about Star Trek, okay?
And our
I watched half of one episode.
No, we're cutting it. Cut this.
God,
Cut this shit.
And joining us today is special guest Elliot from I almost said the wrong thing. Elliot from Internet Today.
Yeah, Internet Today. That's the show that I do on YouTube. And yeah, glad to be back, actually. I was in the unaired pilot of this show where we discussed Picard.
Yes,
and
the lost episode, episode 0 of Left Track.
The amount of psychic damage I did to myself watching Picard for nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be here watching a better show, though this season not so much, and discussing it from a left perspective, I guess.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's a Star Trek podcast, and like we're leftists, and obviously, we're not gonna hang around with any of those fucking squares, any of those.
So this
crackers.
is just like an hour of us chanting like fully automated luxury space communism.
Yes, get it. Replicators, holodecks that you can let's fucking do it.
Yeah, just slapping ourselves in the faces and screaming fully automated space communism. Luxury. Yeah, excuse me.
But the innovation for this episode is last week we had the all Trekkie cast with Bad Bunny. This week we're, I want to say, outnumbered like that Fox show, but it's not. It's an even split. It's Trekkie versus newbie with you. I mean, you all know the usual split. Elliot, let's talk about your relationship with Star Trek. What is your familiarity Star Trek, your understanding, if you have any history with the franchise.
Basically, I think it's fucking lame as hell.
Oh,
Damn.
I think everyone who likes it's a fucking dork.
Damn.
My dad watched a lot of TNG when I was a kid, and I watched it with him, but I was like 8, so
oh my
I don't know. I remember thinking it was cool, and I watched a lot of the movies. I still haven't seen the first 2, even though the second one's supposedly the best one. But probably movies like 5 through Generations through like the first 2 J.J. Abrams not understanding the source material movies.
Well, so I missed part of that because I don't know if it picked up on my mic, but a plane flew directly over my house at what I think is like an altitude of like 400 feet. I could see it from my window.
That's the Central Intelligence Agency.
Fuck. I
They're
thought
getting too close to the truth.
I thought I
Star
bleeped
Trek,
Ted
your
Kaczynski out
informant
last
fees.
episode. Oh yeah, my informant. I hope they
Yeah.
take Dogecoin because that's all I got now. I'm sorry.
Oof.
That's where all of the Patreon money's going. I promised Left Trek NFTs, but unfortunately it's going into my stonks. So pardon
Doge stonks.
I'm cut this later. So understanding this correctly, so your dad watched TNG when you were a kid, presumably. And you've only like seen the movies, the terrible Next Generation movies.
No, I've
and
seen
the
like
new ones.
what was it? The one with the whales. I think that's the first one I watched. And then the Star Trek.
That's a good one.
6.
Yeah.
Was 6 the one with the whales?
I think it was. Oh God, here this
6 was the Undiscovered Country, I think.
Yes. Oh, well, look at you.
Yeah.
That was the bad one.
Actually, pretty cool. I liked that one a lot.
Oh, never mind.
It had a lot of interesting ideas to it.
Yeah, they go into the one place, and then Picard and William Shatner and Patrick Stewart fight the guy on the scaffolding.
So that
in
was
LA.
Generations.
What?
That one.
No.
That.
That was the Undiscovered. Wait, no, wasn't. No.
Undiscovered Country has like Charleston Heston.
Yeah.
As what is Worf? He's a Klingon.
Yes.
And there's like an incident. It's actually very similar to the first episode we watched for this episode, where there's like a diplomatic incident. There's a murder, and Kirk gets wrongfully accused of murder and exiled to a prison planet. And it's the whole thing's supposed to be a metaphor for what was it, perestroika or no, whatever the late 80s warming of relations between the U.S. and the USSR was.
I'm getting educated.
The Federation's supposed to be NATO, and the Klingons, I guess, are the USSR.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry really liked doing that, having the kind of like parallels with the Klingons and the Federation. Like it's a whole thing. That's worthy of a bonus episode. Look at that.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie. I mean, the politics aren't that novel, but
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't say it out loud. No.
Starring Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, and Brent Spiner.
Oh yeah, you're right. What? Oh, I'm mixing up Insurrection with Generations. The one.
Is Insurrection the one with Tom Hardy as a Borg?
No,
I don't think I saw that one.
No. You're mixing up two different ones there. Tom Hardy is Picard's clone, who was raised by Remans, who are like the slave race of the Romulans that have never been brought up until this movie and never brought up again. Yeah, and then Picard is the clone.
Star Trek Online.
No one
There's
cares
a lot of
about that.
Remans in Star Trek Online.
Fucking terrible ass game. I was part of the people that were so excited for that MMO to come out. We were just imagining all of the possibilities. Like, oh my goodness, a vast. We were basically picturing like Elite Dangerous, but if Elite Dangerous had like content in it, and if that content was Star Trek, that's what we were picturing in our minds. We got ourselves so hyped up. This is before the fucking game started. There were factions and wars, and oh my god, it was wild. And the game came out, and it was World of Warcraft, but with spaceships in space. And,
it was.
And microtransactions.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. A lot of those.
Yeah. So, and no, Insurrection was the one where the people on the planet live forever. All the Next Generation movies are really fucking bad.
So yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the IP, I guess.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any DS9. I've only seen those 2 episodes of Picard and never again. And didn't watch any fucking Enterprise or
Voyager.
What was the other one?
Voyager.
There's another one that I also haven't seen.
Voyager with Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah, that was a bridge too far for me. For reasons.
Deep Space Nine is the good one. You'd like Deep Space Nine.
I hear that's the that's Trek for grown-ups.
Yeah. And there's an episode where they like quote triumphantly from the Communist Manifesto, and where they're like making a union. It fucking rocked. Everyone, if we've said this a million times on Left Track, go watch Deep Space Nine. It fucking rocked. You can deal with the first 2 episodes even though they're bad.
Yeah, like
Cisco hates Picard because Picard killed his wife.
Wait, what?
Drama.
Yeah, you got TOS, which is like Star Trek for like boomers, right? Because of course
Star Trek for Gene Roddenberry types. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got your Next Generation, which is Star Trek for people who really like the West Wing. And you got DS9, which is for adults, and then you got Voyager, which is for operators.
It is a very operator show. That's true.
And Enterprise for country music fans.
Yeah. I got faith of the heart. This is going on YouTube.
The song sucks.
Where the heart will take me, I've got faith to believe. Oh god, I know all of it. I do believe we'll get demonetized if we sing anymore though. We aren't monetized in the first place, but we'll get a strike. Well, so okay, yeah. So I have personally not seen a lot of the movies, even though I was outed as an insane Star Trek nerd on the last episode, where I just knew like all the quotes and stuff. Fortunately, the original series is kind of my blind spot. I've kind of maybe watched through it once, like just enough to see all like the horrible like racist and especially sexist stuff is very funny. The last episode of the original series is like if the Turner Diaries were about women.
Jesus Christ.
Dark.
It's really bad. But so yeah, so we're continuing here on Left Track, watching through the Next Generation, still deep in season 1. Gene Roddenberry is alive and well. And oh boy, is he writing! He is writing. He is writing the fuck out of these episodes.
He's writing at an elderly man's pace, for sure.
He's Gene Roddenberry is definitely doing a thing. I'm at the wrong episode in my notes. Ooh.
You said alive and well, and I'd say alive and well.
When does he start like rapidly deteriorating and dying in rage? Is that like the end of season like 2 around about?
I don't know. I don't know the history on this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I bleeped out my hot take from the last episode. But you know, even without Gene Roddenberry, Rick Berman shows up. And check out the Renegade Cut episode for more information on that one. Good episode. So we start out. So the first thing we see, or one of the first things we see, costume design. And let me say
Just
this.
incredible. Just
brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really going for it, and completely just not sticking the jump or the landing. Just some of the most horrifically bad looking, but still clearly a lot of work went into it. The costume design of one species of aliens, and then I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to see the other species. There's apparently 2 species of aliens on this ship that both hate each other, and the first one we see just absolute freaks.
Yeah, these these very high effort outfits of these snake people, and like
hold on. If I may interject here, can we first of all, the stars of the show, right? The crew of the Enterprise, their outfits,
They're wearing
with their-
dresses.
yeah, with their beautiful fucking dresses,
Yeah.
amazing. Riker in his
Those are the formal
gold
ones.
trimmed.
Yeah.
The gold trim like thing. I was off put a little bit. I was like, what the fuck is this, like a new thing now? And then it was like, no, this is just for meeting these just for receiving these Cobra people, the true reptilian overlords of our current planet Earth. That's they beamed them aboard.
This was filmed in
hopefully,
Hollywood, so there were a lot of them around.
Yeah, true.
Don't they wear
But yeah.
skirts in some season 1 episodes, and then they stop doing it?
Yeah, they sort of do. It's kind of like just brought up as a joke, like, but it does remain to be canon that like they wear the dress, the little short skirt, and that's like a formal reception thing. It's kind of brought up as a meme, but yeah, no, they pretty much drop it, which is unfortunate because it was a brave choice, but.
Absolutely.
The censors thought it was too gay for the 1980s, so they had.
He's
Welcome
certainly
to-
better
welcome to the
looking
80s.
and better fitting than the actual Starfleet uniforms in this show, which
Absolutely. I think they
probably
breathe.
smelled better too.
are just the most like unflattering. Like, someone needs to get a tailor on this ship, someone who knows how to sew.
Yeah. Hey,
Someone
Deep Space Nine
with a-
famously it has a tailor on the cast.
No, true. Yeah, they really, when they heard dress uniforms, they really leaned in.
Hey. Oh.
Hey.
That's
yeah,
the level of
I-
left shirt comedy we're expecting.
Before you hit your notes thing, I just want to say this show has exhibited no this show so far has exhibited no less effort than what you would see in a Doctor Who episode today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, true.
I just want to say
Doctor Who, famously terrible show.
That's true.
Just the worst.
Oh, we can do a Doctor Who hot take
yeah.
real quick. In the new series, the first Doctor, only good section of Doctor Who. Everything else, absolute crap, including the new series with what's her name, the absolute lib garbage.
Same problem as Star Trek Voyager. A man has his limits.
This is true. I mean, you're not delivering a hot take here. I fucking hate Voyager. I rewatch Voyager semi-regularly. My girlfriend likes it more than I do, and I hate it.
Of course she does.
I hate it more every time I see it. Just little, and it's every like little thing, like just the fascist nature of the premise of the show, where they have to like live by this command. We'll do an episode on Voyager. We won't
I
get
don't
too
know
far
anything
on
about
this
it except that there's a woman captain, and Star Trek fans were mad. I guess.
So there's a woman captain, and she's like the most like violent person that's ever been in any series.
Subverting stereotypes. You love to see it.
She's
Let's,
more violent than fucking Gul Dukat. She's
Damn.
just torturing people. She's marching Tuvix with her fucking with her brown shirts to his death in sick bay. Her jackbooted thugs as she goes and rips apart this being. Anyway.
That's. Yep. I mean, none of that was wrong.
So we get into the episode, high effort snake people, and then and Azalea says like, ooh, I remember, and here's me, because I don't watch this part of Next Generation. I stay far away from this fucking shit. But because I kind of remember them being like more furry, like the snake people's counterparts, and well,
Fur is very like particularly placed.
Yeah, but they definitely look like some sort of like I don't know, like cat maybe. They register to me as cat like. I don't know if anyone else has.
They look
that.
like they could be right out of that movie, Cats.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
they definitely have like some Jim Henson aesthetics to them. Definitely reminded me of like the sword dog out of the Labyrinth. Like you know, if you pull up a picture, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I was thinking that it was just you know, a really good example of wet puppetry. Except it's face puppetry. You know, it's like a mask.
They were weirdly wet, weren't they? The cat ones.
All of them.
They had a real fucking shine to them.
They were very shiny. Yeah, and you know, shout out to Scaredy Cats TV for, you know, check out those wet puppets. You know, just saying. Okay, episode 6. Okay.
All about those fucking wet puppets over there on whatever the hell.
Scaredy Cats.
Yeah, Scaredy Cats.
Whatever the hell they're up to over there on that thing.
What was it say? I like how they immediately, they're like, these two races hate each other, and you know, so the reptilian, our reptilian overlords come on, and they're like, we want to be upwind from, you know, the smelly ones or whatever. And then it's just like, okay, fine, we'll do that for you, no problem. And then like it shows like how equally terrible that the other race of aliens are by just being like, we want to eat our meat alive. Like, how dare you?
That's just insightful commentary is gonna drop off real quick here.
We want to eat our meat alive, like. You are savages for recombobulating your food out of, you know, like this.
Well, it's just like the code of honor thing where they have a they have like this like in the Enlightened Federation and very basic Gene Roddenberry, you know, they don't eat meat, they say, Riker says specifically they don't enslave animals anymore. I'm like, base.
that's a bit extra of a description, but you know,
fucking rocks.
Very vegan conversation.
Yeah, right.
But they will
very,
accommodate these disgusting half cat, mostly like blob creatures, and to have their live meats that apparently like an on staff cook is gonna slaughter for them, or maybe they bring them to them alive. I don't know.
Seems like something they should have planned ahead for.
Yeah.
Right. Could you imagine if they just brought the live animals to the holodeck and just like fired up like a chef program? Like they're
oh my god, like Neelix's luau program,
safety off hologram, and then it's just like a butcher. Somebody else comes in to use the holodeck for, you know, pleasure purposes, and it's just covered in fucking just blood and entrails.
You know it smelled crazy in there.
Oh yeah. One of my we really haven't talked about it on the show, but here's my recommend. I hate all of the new Trek stuff. It fucking sucks. It's awful. I hate every single part of it except for the strangely, this blew my mind. The adult animated show Lower Decks is fucking hilarious. It's so good. It's the funniest adult animated comedy I've seen in a long time. That includes any of the recent seasons of Rick and Morty, which fucking suck ass. They're so bad.
They're the worst.
But one of the things, but they mention that, and they censor it out because they're giving this one lady these terrible jobs, and one of her jobs is to clean out and they censor the word, but it's come from the holodeck. So yeah, any kind of like fluids or anything that gets on the holodeck is apparently canonically like it's there. It stays there. And it goes somewhere to like get fucking recycled, but it happens. If the things that are happening on the holodeck, and they kind of like go back and forth on this, like in Voyager it gets weird because they say photons and force fields in Voyager, but like, you know, if you've got a wet thing and you've got and you're in proximity to that wet thing, you're getting wet. And they confirm that in the first episode where Wesley gets wet. It's a whole, well, man, the holodecks are so interesting. Basically, you fucking them. It's great. So
I'm just confused because it's like how are they still like if there's a future, like this is the future, right? And everybody on the ship has like existed with like replicators and everything like that. So they haven't needed, like they said, we've gone beyond enslaving our animals for food or whatever, right? How would anybody know how to butcher any sort of animal, let alone like alien animals or anything like that? Like how would that still be a practice? Data read a book.
Yeah, they have data to it.
They just have data to it.
They have Data watch one of the like Bon Appetit videos where they just like slaughter an entire animal.
It's just they just upload all of Eating with Babish, like just like download it all into Data's fucking files.
Yeah,
Data's like, I'm fully functional.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're already getting into even internal references. My goodness. Well, so the Enterprise, the crew of the Enterprise, they don't understand why are these disgusting snake people and the disgusting cat whatever things. Why are they fighting? They don't really understand the conflict. And Riker's like, I didn't even understand that kind of conflict when I was studying Earth. And Picard's like, yeah, they're fighting about religion and can you believe it? They fight about economic systems. Oh, base Gene Roddenberry. Thank you, sir. Gene Roddenberry is the person that actually ended the Cold War. Yeah, the weird lion cat. There's the weird lion cat. I just call them like lion cat things. I don't know. I'm not gonna put any pictures up because this is the audio format. God damn it! Even though it's primarily hosted on YouTube, but holy shit, go look at these fucking things. Season 1, episode 6. They look awful. I can't even describe them. They're like cats, but they've got big heads. It's weird.
I have a theory. That what they were trying to do was do a weasel, like a mongoose and a cobra, right?
Yeah. You know what? That makes sense.
Yeah,
that does.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sense,
What are these two races called again? When was the?
I did not write this down.
There was the
Cillians or whatever.
Antikins.
Antikins
were the furry ones, and then the reptilians. I don't know.
The smelly furry ones.
It was like Sealy or something like that, but I don't think
Furries versus Scalies.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
the Slytherins.
Wet furries versus less wet Scalies.
Yeah, Scalies versus furries, absolutely.
Still shiny in ways that didn't feel right.
Yeah, they really did have a weird shine to them. Not even the snake ones. The ones that weren't the snake ones had the shine to them. I don't. I really don't understand. And also
Furries in the Rain.
They pitch their voices. There's a lot of like voice post processing. There's a lot of like post effects of the voices being like with like added reverb, like Picard when he gets infected with the alien spoilers. But for these two alien races, there's a lot of like pitch shifting in there, especially for the furries. They have very very deep pitch down. But here I'm gonna do it to myself right now.
They have real. They kind of talk like this, and they have very pitched down voices. It sounds kind of stupid, actually.
But this was the late '80s. They didn't have lights or computers or anything.
They didn't have Fruity Loops.
They didn't have electricity back then. Yeah, they did not have FL Studio back then. Poor guys. But then, and that's just the subplot, because the real premise of the episode, they fly across an energy cloud, and then Worf gets shocked. Oh my fucking god! Worf is on the floor. Some electricity comes, and they go to resuscitate him, and he becomes really violent, and then Crusher like knocks him out with like he's becoming violent, and she just has like a hypo spray to just like chill out. Oh, it's ketamine. Sorry, I
Yeah.
realized.
It's ketamine.
My bad. It's some of that stuff from the one episode.
Shit.
You need to just chill the fuck out. But they're examining Worf because Worf's unconscious. I don't know what's going on with him, and Beverly Crusher has her surgery helmet that looks like a scouter from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that shit was fun.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The tech, I don't know if it gets better in TNG, but it's clearly just very early LEDs and like fake glass, and yeah,
it becomes
that thing she's wearing on her face isn't doing a damn thing.
Yeah, it really
Star
does
Trek
look,
method. I mean, Star Wars method.
Yeah,
And
they use it a
also
lot more sensibly later. Is the thing.
The bed that Worf is in is not ergonomic. It is boxy. It is literally too small for Worf. His chest is getting crushed in it.
Yeah, and you know that's something that they never fix. Like those are the beds throughout the entirety of the Next Generation, and even in like Voyager, where sick bay is a very common set that they use. The beds are just these flat tables. I guess because they're also like where they're doing operations and surgery, but. I don't know. Can I get like a pillow or something? Can I get like a back support? Do these things adjust? I'm gonna get sores if I have to lie here for too long. Maybe they don't have bed sores in the future. Who knows?
Yeah, it's the uniforms are actually protect you from bed sores.
Oh, that's why they wear them all the time, even when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's good. We mentioned Zot's had this little piece of information. We mentioned this in episode 1, and you might be curious to know this, Elliot, that the suits that they're all wearing smelled absolutely fucking terrible. They're all made of like spandex, right?
Oh,
Yeah. So
and this is I think this is even pre like Kino flows, which are fluorescents that are a lot less hot than the actual tungsten bulbs used on most sets. Movie sets, especially like enclosed ones like that, get very warm.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of very even lighting just kind of everywhere. So yeah, they've got this fucking. It's like 100 degrees. No wonder everyone looks so sweaty whenever you do a fucking close up.
Yeah.
They have like an
even
intern howling
that's what
everyone
happened.
out.
Yeah.
They're sweating through their costumes.
Yeah. And famously, the
wanna
costumes smell like shit.
If I could also say, I like, as much as everyone so far has like hated season 1, like Next Generation, I love like the behind the scenes lore of Next Generation season 1 with like the just shitty fucking the shitty smelling fucking costumes to what's her name, the rape gangs woman,
Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar.
Out of
Tasha
context,
Yar's-
that sounds real bad.
Tasha Yar like skittering
context
onto the
doesn't make
set
it
of
better.
Cheers in order to feed the rest of the Star Trek crew.
Oh yeah,
like,
Denise Crosby had to sneak over to the Cheers set in order to feed them because they were because the crew on Next Generation season 1 was improperly craft serviced.
Oh god.
And like so it's just so yeah, like it's they did their best, as much shit as we give them, with all things considered,
It almost got canceled, right?
Like a million times. Yes. It's because they were flying so far under the radar. They saved a lot of money on craft services, so they were able to kind of write that off on the expenses. They were able to skate on by, like, oh, just let us do our weird sci-fi thing. It's fine. Look, you don't even have to feed us. We have Denise Crosby. she's gonna squirrel away food and feed it to everyone like a mother bird.
she stores it in her gullet and then just picks it up to everyone.
Just baby birds it into Riker's mouth.
So she's a character that I don't remember, and it's apparently because she asked to be killed off.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Yep. Yeah, so
Yep.
yeah.
Wait, really? That's a thing?
Oh,
She
Yeah,
asked you to kill them?
spoilers.
Sorry, spoilers, Zots.
I think we already talked about this, but yeah, she wanted to leave the show because her character was rapidly becoming extremely redundant and she had absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah, they made a joke about that in Galaxy Quest where they made like the only woman on the bridge just repeat what the captain says to the computer.
Yes.
It's just like fuck,
and it's the one thing I remember from Galaxy Quest 2 is that like every single time in every scene she has like her zipper goes down a little bit more. Is that right?
Yeah. It's just to be like a sexualized just secretary for the captain, and she was just like, no, I don't want to do that.
We'll have to
And it's
watch.
like,
We'll have to watch Galaxy Quest for that. I don't really even remember it. I saw it. I saw it like maybe when it came out, like in theaters. That was a fucking long time ago.
It's pretty funny despite Tim Allen.
Oh yeah, I forgot Tim Allen was in it. Well, so an alien consciousness obviously invaded Worf and obviously invaded Crusher, and here's something that I really like about early, and this is something that Star Trek has just going for it in general. There's a lot of good methods of storytelling that gets used. In some ways, like, it explains too much, but then in other ways it really like trusts the audience to follow around what's going on, or maybe it doesn't and I'm just picking up on that because like it's very intuitive to me, and I didn't remember this episode at all, like what's happening. Like an alien consciousness has inhabited Worf, and that explains stuff, and that becomes obvious when it then transfers over via electricity to Crusher, and then she's acting weird, like she doesn't know what the fuck's going on. She wants to go to the helm for some reason, and then transfers herself into the computer and has no idea what's going on. But everyone kind of like pretty quickly realizes what's ended up happening, or do they? No,
they do.
So yeah, but also they're like very unconcerned by it, and it takes them a while.
Like, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. All right, well.
Troy is like this psychic alien, and she recognizes that there's like, oh, there's a duality in them. That's strange, but I thought it was just a duality of man, you know.
And Geordi's like, they were glowing, but I thought it was just like, kind of just a little weird.
Geordi's like at the computer terminal at one point, and then the doctor comes up and starts using it, which is not her fucking job. There's no reason for her to be there. And he's just like, oh, that's weird. Didn't know you'd need to use that. And then like 2 seconds later, the whole system crashes. He's like, oh, I wonder how that happened. What's changed in the last 5 seconds to cause something like this?
It's so weird and slow. Like Data looks over and it's like, doctor, what the fuck are you doing? And she doesn't.
Oh, it was Data. It wasn't Geordi.
Yeah.
Right.
But she
no, Data's like, huh, that's weird, and then like she just like keeps doing the thing, and he's like, huh, whatever, just shrugs and keeps doing what he's doing.
This is before he realized this is where Data realized that he needed to have some initiative, or else he's gonna let a fucking alien take over the ship and kill everyone, which happens all the time.
Yeah,
he's gonna need that lesson going forward.
It's one of those things that I feel like Data, like maybe if I was trying to put this in lore, it'd be like Data was probably kind of like, people think I'm weird, and so I probably shouldn't go out on a limb here and say that someone else is doing something weird, because he gets rebuffed all the time for saying shit like that.
This is the human behavior that I have not yet to understand. How strange.
But yeah, I don't know,
Well, and here's another one with the chief engineer situation. So first of all, Geordi's the helm officer, I guess. He's piloting the ship. They have no clue what's going on. Everyone besides like the people with very defined roles, like Patrick Stewart, who's the captain, they have no idea what LeVar Burton's doing. Like, is he an engineer, a technician, a helm officer? He's the blind guy. He's just kind of everything.
He's in constant agonizing pain.
He's the blind guy in constant agonizing pain, canonically. Who knows
Forever
what's
on the
happening?
hunt for new eyeballs.
Yeah, eyeball, Jordy the eyeball taker. We'll get into it. There's a my notes keeper setting. This is very annoying. It keeps bringing me back to the last episode. We already did the last episode. Google Docs. What the fuck? But there's a new chief engineer. It's Singh. He's like an Indian guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the Indian guy on this show. You're gonna get
No.
killed by an alien.
Mhm.
They also, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but he didn't seem like a very good actor.
Yeah, well, he had a very strong accent. Like maybe maybe it was someone. Maybe he was like a producer's
which
cousin.
is fine. Which is fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I did think his performance was good, and I could tell he was gonna die. From
Well,
a
yeah,
away.
there was definitely that kind of like, oh, you're a new character, you're gonna die energy. You know, it's
Very- the
that's
red
something you
shirt
could
effect,
expect
for
from Star Trek. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we have a new character. Oh, and they're in Starfleet. They're not from somewhere else or something like that. Okay, they're gonna die. Yeah.
Well,
got it.
one of
Understood.
the few like actually good virtues of Gene Roddenberry is the importance of showing that like this Federation, the humans in the future, there's like universal inclusivity, and that's neat. And you can see, and especially in and you can check out Red Letter Media's coverage of the first Star Trek movie for this. But you have these representatives from all these cultures that can be seen. Like Gene Roddenberry finds it very important to make sure that that there's a lot of people represented, especially like North American natives. His one of his visions is to show that like humanity are humans. There are a united front on a mission of universal peace and prosperity, and we can credit the guy with that, at least, even if
Even if it was bad sometimes, even if he really
Yeah.
screwed the pooch.
even if
sometimes.
if he absolutely just despised women, just with every fiber of his being.
Credit where it's due. This came out around the same time as Short Circuit 2, and they could have just hired Fisher Stevens to play the Indian guy, but they hired a real Indian dude, and that was
True.
brave for 1989 or whatever the fuck this was.
True.
Yeah.
And
When was
and-
this
and-
actually?
And he was able. And he was able
87,
to actually.
I think.
Okay.
And he was a crew member to like very successfully get Wesley to go fuck off.
Yeah,
I don't think there's been as of yet like a, maybe that's why they had to kill him. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry had to kill him, 'cause he's like, well, I have to write this guy to like, tell Wesley to go back to get out of his way so he can do his job. But like Wesley is me. No one can talk to me like that. I wrote this show.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure this motherfucker is
Why is this kid on this ship anyway?
because he's the wounded.
Shouldn't he be in school
He is in school. They talked
He,
about
yeah,
it.
he's in
Remember?
school.
doing remote learning? It's not the same.
Yes.
Come on.
What is this, COVID?
he's under captain's or a weird line is that like the Singh, the chief engineer, was he a chief engineer? Is he the fourth?
I don't know. Everyone is a chief engineer.
They said he was like
that's your place.
assistant to the chief engineer. I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's the thing. So like chief engineer is a very like specific title that someone has going forward. But in season 1, it seems that there's like this radical like anarchist horizontal organization of engineers that just kind of like force that oversee operations on the ship, and I think that's a good idea. But they abandoned that at some point whenever they, I guess, decided to make Geordi the chief engineer, even though he was the helm officer before.
Yeah. Just, hey, just everybody's settling into their places.
And I think that works because LeVar Burton's version of a chief engineer is just like this don't fuck with me, I'm busy, Geordi LaForge. It's really great. I like it.
Yeah, big fan.
We're not gonna get that for a while.
LeVar Burton, a gem. I gotta say,
absolutely.
just a huge fan. Everything he's touched, I'm a big fan.
I
Yeah.
wanted him to host Jeopardy so bad.
Me too.
I was really
Everyone
pulling,
did.
yeah,
Literally
I guess
everyone did, except for the executive producer who wanted himself to be on it. Getting back to the show, can we talk about
I'd
the
rather
fact that
not.
remember how we were saying like, Data read a book like on how to like butcher meats or whatever, right?
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
joke. In fact, but no, that couldn't be possible because in this episode he had to read Sherlock Holmes instead. So
He can only read one.
he can only read one book at a time, and
Yeah.
which okay, fucking hell, why did they abandon like? You open up the show about like, oh, we're trying to like, the whole thing is supposed to be like, I thought was supposed to be about like, random shenanigans once again, trying to figure out racism on board of the Enterprise, but instead, no, that becomes the B plot. We open with the B plot of the fucking show, and the A.
There's a lot happening in this episode.
Yeah,
That is
and
true.
like-
it's
and like-
weird that
And like Data becomes Sherlock Holmes for what reason exactly?
so he could smoke
Fuck it.
some pipe tobacco that they apparently brought on their intergalactic mission. There's a store of pipe
Oh
tobacco.
no, you can replicate it. You can make
Oh, I
anything you
see.
want out of energy. That's
It's
the thing.
The whole inroad there is that somebody said private eye.
Yeah.
Somebody said private eye. And,
It's an
and
incredible
Data's like,
concept.
what's that? And then becomes obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, downloads the entire oeuvre, and then just fucking and becomes Sherlock Holmes. Like just what a
He
fucking
wanted to become
weirdo.
Sherlock Holmes. It's the whole pipe thing. That's not what it was. The man was an opium addict, so he should have been should have built a
You
in
know, you're right.
the bridge and just lit up a hookah full of opium.
Yeah.
He's just sitting. He's just laying on the fucking floor of the bridge. Just
No,
a
that's the
long
next
opium
episode.
pipe. Just a long opium pipe. Just like
Trying to calm his overactive
Indubitably.
mind and focus on the clues.
Yeah.
God.
Picard is looking at Data just collapsed on the floor like Data, you're an android. You cannot be fucking crunked up right now. Data goes, we're a lot more alike than dislike, Picard.
Jesus.
Like that one episode, remember? That's the one where he fucks.
Where he
blowing opium.
fucks.
Just blowing opium rings in the captain's face.
But Data and
Pulp
Sherlock
fiction.
Holmes, keep that in the back of your mind going forward for future episodes
Yeah.
of Left Track. That's gonna be coming back a few times.
That's a recurring
It's a
theme.
fan favorite.
That's a
it?
The people
absolutely
demand more Sherlock Holmes from Data.
new.
They love it.
Another
Yeah.
another bonus episode. The ultimate fate of the horrifying fate of Moriarty on the Next Generation. Brian knows it. But we won't talk too much about that. So the guy, I guess he's not a chief engineer. There's 4 confirmed separate chief engineers at least, and also this guy who's an assistant engineer. Wesley is of course telling this educated professional who went to school for years to be an engineer on like the leading ship of the Starfleet. Wesley's telling this guy how to do his fucking job. The guy tells him to go fuck off. Wesley goes and talks to his mom about how he's not being engaged properly in school, and he's so smart, he can contribute to so many things, and school he doesn't learn much, but out there, doing the stuff he learns a lot. God, I wish he'd gotten executed in the next episode.
Yeah, he sucks. He's a real Mary Sue.
Absolutely. Oh my god. And it's every episode. It's except for the next one that we'll talk about. It's every fucking episode he does this shit. And it's the same shit every time. He tells another. This is like the 3rd chief engineer that he's told how to do his fucking job.
Yeah,
and this one did tell him to go fuck off.
Your
This one
fucking
did tell him to go
coworkers,
fuck off.
like, it's take your kid to work day every day, and they're just wandering around like harassing you while you're trying to operate a fucking like $20 trillion spaceship. Fuck off, kid.
The collective efforts of humanity has gone into the construction of the most advanced ship in the Federation, and this fucking kid just gets the fuck around with it.
You
he's
can't
a-
even tell him to
Picard's
touch grass because there's no grass.
This
That's to
is
go
all
to the
Picard's
holodeck to
fault,
touch
too.
grass.
You got to remember Picard did this because Picard has the hots for Beverly.
Yes, that's
Really?
what.
She's
And
a
that's-
real ice queen. I don't see it.
I mean, except in that one episode, but
She's got a thing going on that was very common around this time, where she's probably like 34 years old, but she everything about her is like a 50-year-old.
It's
Like,
just
it's,
like the style.
Gene
I think her
Roddenberry
clothes have a
likes
lot
his
to do with
mature
it.
women, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just something that was very common around the turn of the 80s and 90s. It was just women making themselves look fucking elderly for no reason. Because I'm like, you look at her and you're like, yeah, she's good looking, but the hair, the makeup, the attitude, just everything. She acts like an old lady.
Well, that's why Picard wants to get Wesley out of the picture using the Prime Directive, because I mean that's what's been keeping them apart. So Picard and Crusher, they're like an old thing, like, well, sort of. They had
Who's
mutual
Wesley's dad?
feelings.
Is it Picard?
Picard's dead friend. Like, they're all like old friends. And Jack, who's Wesley's father, was friends with Picard, who was also friends with Beverly. Like, they were a trio of friends, and Picard always had the secret attraction for Beverly, but couldn't do anything about it. And then fucking Jack dies, and Picard doesn't feel it's appropriate to pursue the relationship to fuck his dead friend's wife. They talked about that already. There's a very famous scene that we'll insert some audio clips here of them just getting very horny.
Damn it, Captain. My dear Captain. You owe me something. You do realize that, don't you? I'm a woman. I haven't had the comfort of a husband, a man.
Not now, Doctor. Please.
That's a fun one, sort of. But we can't talk about the good part of season 1. We have to keep talking about this fucking bullshit.
This potato of an episode.
There's some, because this episode is so schizophrenic. There it does end up being some things that I like and are interesting, but it ultimately gets ruined by everything else that is boring and sucks. Wesley talks to his mom. Blah blah blah. The chief engineer gets electrocuted to death. But no one seems to care that much.
Yeah, it happens.
Or rather, like,
Singh is dead.
They care that he's dead, obviously, but they don't really think it's too weird that just some guy is just like collapsed dead in front of the fucking warp core.
They care, but not as much as if he had been a white man.
Well, true.
True. Yeah.
True.
It's very relevant for the next episode too.
Yeah.
There's a we don't know what's going on. They think they don't really know how it happened. They're like, oh well, we better proceed to Parliament. I think that's a reference to the original series or something, maybe. I don't fucking know.
Is that like a global, like, is that the UN of space?
I have no clue. I think maybe it's a reference to
I don't know.
the original series for some kind of meeting place. I don't know. It's some arbitration.
We never get
site.
there.
We never
fucking get there. It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
Fucking matter. None of it fucking matters. The only thing that fucking matters is it's like at the beginning, or not the beginning of the episode. I'm sorry, but it might as well have been the fucking beginning of the episode. Is Worf's coom face when he gets fucking electrocuted at the fucking screen, and then the rest of the story takes on from there. The aliens that we were all talking about, like, yeah, there you go. The reason why there wasn't much care put into like the facial articulation for the actors inside the thing is because they knew it was going to be fuck all for them to do. Like, really?
I think they probably planned for that to be the A plot, and then they saw the costumes and they're like, okay, we need to do some very quick rewrites because this is This is bad even by our standards.
Yeah. The AB storylines.
Do like electricity, like when the Emperor electrocutes Luke. Can you do some of that? Like 3D4 shot. How hard is that? It's easy. All right. Well, cool. We're gonna have the real enemy is literally invisible, and we're gonna make our actors do a little bit of acting.
It's one of the examples of
especially Data.
Yeah, especially Data. Well, there's a lot of like A plot, B plots in Next Generation. I mean, obviously, they're 45-minute episodes, but this and all the worst ones are entirely disconnected, and they make a very flimsy attempt to like, okay, well, the engineer died. Did one of the aliens do it? And there's this extended stupid scene where Data's smoking opium from a pipe, where they figure out no, don't worry. The A and B plot have nothing to do with one another. Don't worry about it. Like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That was a red herring, and I'm going to explain it very early on in the episode.
Episode, jumping ahead, the episode literally ends with like a cliffhanger about that story. Like someone fucking died or disappeared. There's a pile. I watched this.
Yeah. My god.
They ate one of the other ones.
Okay.
There was
the ants made a snake.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they ate someone. Like that's yeah. You get the whole thing. Like Picard is literally like finally like whatever the being that is like that is literally like mind fucked every like major cast member of the show, finally makes its way inside Picard and is just like finally like, I have found the perfect being to cohabitate with, so I'm going to send us into space. And it's just like and like everyone's like,
Please
what?
don't.
So, yeah.
Do that.
So let's
And
then he
oh, it didn't anyways.
It didn't work. He's actually the being. Whatever. It didn't work. So we need to beam him back. And,
I guess we need to resolve the Scaly versus Furry plotline. Yeah. So a bunch of other shit's happening, and like these two delegates, like these in fucking professional ambassadors that are presumably trying to mediate peace between their species. They want to kill each other so bad. And at the end of the episode, like everything's worked out with the normal plot. And then Tasha's like, Tasha goes in like, oh my god, Riker, Captain, one of the delegates is missing. There's blood everywhere. One of the cooks got brought a reptilian creature to cook. It looks like one of the ambassadors. And Riker just looks at her and it's like,
is this the time?
Yes, thank you.
Can this just wait? Don't. And then like she like snaps. She's like, oh right. Hello, Captain. We're glad to have you back.
Captain.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Sorry, Commander, but Security Team 2 reports they've discovered a puddle of blood outside the Scali quarters, and they can't find one of the delegates, and
Lieutenant, this couldn't have waited a moment.
It's good to see you, sir. The problem is that one of the cooks has just been asked to broil reptile for the Antikins, and it looks like the Scali delegate.
Riker, what with the peace delegates and all, I think I do need a rest. Take charge, number one.
It is just and Picard's just like, yeah, fuck this. I just existed in the vacuum of space as pure energy. I don't have time for this.
Riker, they were so desperate to resolve this fucking plot that like they were ignoring all of these horrible warning signs. Picard is energy in space, and they can't immediately figure out what to do, so they just go and set a course right back to fucking Parliament before Troy says that he's still out there, and they don't care that one of them has killed the other one. One of the fucking delegates has killed one of the other delegates and intends to eat them. Like,
this episode is bad. This is a bad episode.
Yeah, it's bad. I do appreciate one detail is that Picard spells
P. You really need to insert the line where like Riker just goes P for Picard. And like
something crazy on my panel.
Commander Riker. Status?
P for Picard. He's in the ship's circuitry. Come to the transporter room, please.
Yeah, you need to put that in. You need to put that soundbite in.
That was essential.
This episode was like, this was rough. I was zoning out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, I gotta watch another one of these. But the
next one picks up.
The next one, immediate change of tone. I was immediately hooked.
So let's talk
My
about
blood pressure rose
from 0 over 0 to something else. There's two good scenes that I want to mention. So to summarize the plot in a sentence, they've accidentally trapped an alien being on the Enterprise by going through this fucking energy cloud. The alien being ends up taking over people and the ship and has a lot of power because it's this creature of energy, and eventually ends up fusing with Picard in order to then bring it back to the energy cloud. But it turns out Picard and the alien being, they really like it. They like being one. They like being joined together. It's really cool, and they want to go explore the universe because they say energy can go everywhere instantly because it's not matter. That's not true. CinemaSins ding. Science fail. Bullshit. Energy has speed. It's all still particles. Fuck you. Gene
Also,
Roddenberry.
this is the first Tuvix.
Yeah, true. Deep cut. My goodness. I mean, we already mentioned Tuvix against, but true. Yeah, it's weird, but the good scenes are, I guess, entirely driven by Patrick Stewart's acting because everyone knows...
kills it as like the imposter or whatever.
Oh yeah,
he's a sussy baka.
Yeah, I love how he's just like I don't have time for this. Get out of my office. Like beat up on the fucking thing. Like, do I need to call security on you? Are you gonna leave?
Yeah, like, Riker calls an emergency meeting. I'll put the sound right here. And they're like, well, we have the Picard has obviously been taken over by an alien. We can't do shit about it. What can we do? I don't know. And Riker and Crusher Beverly, the doctor, they go and they're like, okay, you're obviously being taken over by an alien being. Please go to sickbay. And then Picard just fucking doms them. Like, he just absolutely this alien just has the full social control of the situation, and it's like, actually, I expect you two to go to sickbay and find out what the fuck is wrong with you. And then they do it. They go to sickbay and then analyze themselves. These fucking that's cucked. Oh my god, they've absolutely destroyed by the energy alien. Holy shit.
I gotta say, one thing that I noticed in this episode was that they really gave Troy a purpose. Like, they really showed like she's actually useful to like the Enterprise, and not just like some like weird background character that calls for war crimes when necessary.
Yes.
The like with the hypnotizing, and then like the using her empath abilities to like discern like what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh
yeah, and
this is clever.
Picard would have been fucking lost in space if not her. Picard would have been energy trapped in the void. A lot of weird implications in this episode, but yeah, no, she really saves the day.
Yeah, no, this episode sucks. This episode, you're right. This was I expected it. I expected more out of it. I expected more of it.
Yeah, and the other really cool scene is when Picard reveals himself as being like part of the alien, or maybe the alien reveals himself, and he's talking about like the events of the episode from its own perspective. I'm like, oh, that's cool. This is a cool scene. I really like that dialogue. It kind of reminds me of there's a relatively well known, like, I guess it's fan fiction. I know they mentioned it on like a Red Letter Media video of the Thing, where like someone wrote the events of the Thing but from the Thing's perspective. It's very interesting, and it kind of reminds me of that. That's just the closest thing. It's a cool scene. Picard, I guess Patrick Stewart is a really good actor, and that's the only reason it's a cool scene, because he just delivers the lines really well.
Yeah, he's better than the show he's acting in, at least. at this point.
Well, and he knows it too, because apparently he was very upset with all of the. Here's another behind the scenes thing. He was not very pleased with his fellow castmates because they fucked around too much, and he's like a proper Shakespearean actor. Like they would never tolerate this kind of behavior at the Royal Shakespeare Company. I think Brett Spiner actually literally says that Picard says that. It's very funny. Picard transfers himself into energy to try to fuse with this being to explore the universe, and then like he is energy. So they establish here that you can make yourself energy, and then you are alive as energy and are able to exist in space and do things. Like Picard as energy, he doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't have a physical form. He's literally energy. A human being has transformed into energy, and is able to go into the computer and rearrange the helm to make a P to indicate that he's in the transporter buffer in order to transport himself back into the form. And like, and that's another thing. What the fuck is the transporter? What? So they have a pattern from before he transported, but what's the energy? What is the energy doing? He doesn't remember the events of being out in space. So what
have you ever played Borderlands? Have you ever played Borderlands? You know, when you die, you know, you just kind of like upload like a copy of
Yeah.
It's just like that. It's just that's what the teleporter is. Every time you're teleported, it's just it's just a memory of what you were before you were transported. That's all it is.
But why couldn't they make up a card from before he transported? Like, because that's what they do. What is the energy that came back from the cloud? What is that? I don't know.
I don't even care enough to
It's true.
to contemplate this.
A lot of implications here that don't matter at all, especially for the show.
They didn't even care about the main plot that they started with. Why the fuck should we care about anything else? Like, true. Honestly, they didn't care about this episode. We don't care. It just gave fucking Patrick Stewart and the actor that played Data an opportunity to just chew the fuck out of the scenery with like their ridiculous directions. Like that's all it did. Mm-hmm. That's, if there's anything to take away from this, it's that. And
which was fun to watch.
Yeah. And we did get the line. We did get good lines out of it, like P for Picard and Data being like and then Picard saying, Data, put away that pipe. Like
and then he did. Oh, and then important, we forgot to mention that. So he puts away the pipe, and then at the end of the scene, like the fish tank behind him makes a noise, and he takes out a magnifying glass.
Yeah, he takes out a magnifying glass to look at whatever the fuck is in there.
He's got it like tucked in his pocket. That was cute. I like that a little bit. But final thoughts before we move on to the interesting episode.
No,
we're good.
My only other thought was Riker. What's his real name?
Jonathan Frakes.
John Frakes. What a handsome man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
just a fucking stud.
Good fucking lord. I'm waiting for the beard. I'm waiting for full daddy mode. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I don't know how this guy, like, was this like a known thing at the time? Because
I'm sure it must.
Was he a model before this, or?
And
I don't know.
He goes on to still look good for a very long time. He kind of still looks good. I mean, he's like old now. He's like what, in his 60s or 70s now. Yeah, he still looks pretty good. Yeah,
he looks hot.
That fucking what's that show? The one where it's like
Beyond Belief.
Yeah, no. Believe. Yeah,
it didn't happen.
Yeah, that show. I was watching. I was watching. So Feminist Critique, by the way, shout out to Feminist Critique on Twitch. They were doing like, they were just like watching episodes of that, right? And like I hadn't seen it in a while, and he comes on there, and I'm like, Daddy, sorry, Daddy, yeah. Like, holy shit, like what the, how are you? Wow, okay, sure. Which I think is actually kind of exemplified at like the beginning of this next episode.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Hello, this is Eric from the future of 2022. Ooh. just coming in to say that we went extremely over time on this episode, and we are going to be splitting it into 2 parts and very neatly kind of contained between the 2 episodes, thankfully. The next one will be coming out in probably a week from now. Probably gonna space things out as I'm recording this. We just also recorded our episode with Nicotine, so please look forward to that. We had a wonderful time with her, and yeah, we're not going to be putting the second part of this up on like the Patreon or whatever. I don't think that's the right content for that. I'd rather just put both parts here for everyone to enjoy. So I want to talk about the Patreon too real quick. So you can find the Patreon. I'll have a link down here in the YouTube description, but if you look for Left Track on Patreon, you'll certainly find it. I want to talk a little bit about what it's going to be like, what's to be expected. Right there, we kind of have a preview already of some content. Me and Brian sat down and talked a little bit about the Maquis and a lot of the implications that the Maquis has for like the Federation, and I think we're going to be doing a lot of issue videos like that, and then probably at a time in the future, probably months in the future, we'll release those and just put those up on the YouTube video on the YouTube channel with a funny headline that'll drive search engine optimization, like, are the Maquis based? What? So please look forward to that. We only have 1 tier. It's $3. Thank you to all the people who already went and supported us. Episode 0, which is we're going to talk a little bit more about in part 2. Episode 0 is on my old computer, the lost episode of Left Track, and that's a little tricky to retrieve. It's still retrievable, and it still will be going up on the Patreon as a permanent little fixture over there, talking about the first episode of the Picard series. And yeah, don't know when that's gonna be, but it will be eventually, I promise. So thank you for everyone's support. We've had such a great time doing Left Track. We've got such good responses. So many people have been interested, so many people that I personally respect, and I couldn't be more grateful. And thank you very much. Sorry for the delay in putting this stuff out. I've got a case of the bad brain, and I'll see you next week. We'll see you in part 2. Goodbye.
Warning, warp core collapse in 10 seconds. Unable to comply. Specify parameters.